Hi guys, this is an emergency broadcast. World War III has officially started. A lot of people are saying, no, I don't think that we're going to get into World War III. We will get into World War III. Sad that it has come to this. We will be talking about everything that happened yesterday. This literally just broke yesterday. The stories of everything that happened. Iran's attack on Israel. It's not an attack on America. A lot of people are saying that it's an attack on America. It's not an attack on America. It's an attack on American ally that's democratically electing presidents. That's what we have always stuck together with. Other countries that act and do the same things as America. That being said, we're going to be digging into today's show.
Facts over tracks, isn't that spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
This is going to be a lot to take in. This is going to be a lot for a lot of people. You already saw most of the footage, but we will be going over exactly what the timeline is of exactly what had happened throughout this whole entire time. We can start with Joe Biden's pathetic response to every single thing that happened abroad. You can say that, oh, well, Joe Biden's response to what is happening abroad is catastrophic and it's pathetic and it's sad, yes. But then his response to what's happening domestically is even more sad and it's pathetic. So we can start with this reminder. And this is what I tweeted out on Twitter yesterday. This is a little reminder of how badly Joe Biden has failed us, the American people, on this one. World War III is starting, but Joe Biden is asleep at the war. We can look at October 7th. This is the attack that Israel had on its land from Hamas. President of the United States, Joe Biden, comes out in support of Israel, saying that Israel has the right to defend itself. On October 20th, we cannot give up on a two-state solution, says Joe Biden. November, a 4-day ceasefire agreement was made which outlined that Hamas would release 50 hostages in exchange for 150 Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. Was an agreement that evolved through weeks of negotiations. The deal ended up getting canceled by Hamas. December, Joe Biden said that the United States is still working through whether to support a United States Security Council resolution that calls for a halt in Gaza hostilities, quote unquote, to allow more aid into the enclave after a vote on the matter was postponed. In January, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says that Israel must decide what to do on its own. So it's already flip-flopping here. February, Biden touts hostage talks that could yield 6-week ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. This has been canceled by Hamas. In March, an exclusive interview with MSNBC, President Joe Biden says that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's disregard for innocent, quote-unquote, innocent lives is, quote, hurting Israel more than it's helping Israel, end quote. He said a ground invasion of Rafah would be a red line. April, Joe Biden's demand this week that Israel improve humanitarian conditions in Gaza and support a ceasefire. That is the latest of this month. That has happened 3 days ago. We are continuing to see Joe Biden's weakness in flip-flopping on foreign policy. This leads him to say a response to what has happened yesterday. This was his response. Earlier today, Iran and its proxies operating out of Yemen, Syria, and Iraq launched an unprecedented air attack against military facilities in Israel. I condemn these attacks in the strongest possible terms. Don't. That's all he says. At my direction, to support the defense of Israel, the United States military moved aircraft and ballistic missile defense destroyers to the region over the course of the past week. Thanks to these deployments and the extraordinary skill of our service members, we helped Israel take down nearly all the incoming drones and missiles. I've spoken with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to reaffirm America's ironclad commitment to the security of Israel. I told him that Israel demonstrated a remarkable capacity to defend itself and defeat in even unprecedented attacks, sending a clear message to its foes that they cannot effectively threaten the security of Israel. Tomorrow, I will convene with my fellow G7 leaders to coordinate a united diplomatic response to Iran's brazen attack. Don't. My team will engage with their counterparts across the region, and we will stay in close touch with Israel's leaders. And while we have not seen attacks on our forces or facilities today, we will remain vigilant to all threats and will not hesitate to take any necessary action to protect our people. So you can already see where this is already flip-flopping. You can see where Joe Biden's saying, okay, well, we're going to support Israel. We're going to support this and we're going to support that. But then Israel comes out and says that Joe Biden comes out and says that Israel's response must be calculated and we cannot get ourselves into a war with Iran. But Iran is the one that started the war. You can see the difference between Israel getting into a war and the United States getting into a war. Now, obviously, if a country is attacked, they must defend itself. This has been the first time since October 7th that Israel has been attacked directly from Iran. Now, you can see some footage right here. This is from earlier in the night. We can see some of the missiles that were heading towards Israel. And this was emerging from the skies over Jerusalem as Iran attacks Israel, with multiple interceptions being reported over Amman, Jordan currently. That's the first one. We have a second video here. All flights besides military, emergency, and special operations that are operating via visual flights rules have also been temporarily suspended over Tehran, Iran, as missiles can be seen flying over Iraq as they are currently heading to Israel. So these are flying from Iran to Israel. This is earlier in the night, of course. And then you can see an Iranian missile hit Negev Desert, which is located in southern Israel. You can see this touch base on soil, so it's not 100% intercepted, like some people are saying. You can see that this is from another angle, with some of them being intercepted in midair and some of them actually crashing down. And you can see this too. The New York Times has now reported that Iranian attack involved 185 drones, 110 surface-to-surface missiles, and 36 cruise missiles, which have launched from Iran, Iraq, and Yemen. So this is a three-country war on Israel, all at the same exact time. So you must ask yourself, are we ready for World War III? Look at this photo from Libs of TikTok. Do you think that the United States is ready for World War III when we have people like this at our forefront, as our military commanders and chiefs? Do you think that America is ready for a war like this? No, I really don't. Let's start covering some of the stuff that the news is covering now. So we can see a Daily Wire article. Biden, so this is earlier in the night, or this is on 2 days ago. This is April 12th. Joe Biden warns the Islamic Party, a Republic of Iran, on Friday not to launch an attack against Israel because the United States was committed to defense of Israel. Biden warning comes after United States officials told ABC News that Iran has prepared more than 100 cruise missiles to fire at Israel. Officials believe that the ballistic missiles and suicide drones are likely to be used in the attacks as well. So what does Joe Biden do? He goes to the beach. He goes to the beach for some strange reason. I don't know why. Now, while he's at the beach, Iran's IRGC seizes Israeli-linked ship near Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, a designated foreign terrorist organization, FTO, seized an Israeli-linked ship on Saturday near Strait of Hormuz. Video published on social media showed IRGC commandos rappelling from a helicopter onto the Portuguese-flagged MSC Ares container ship. The ship is linked to Israeli billionaire Ariel Ophir Zodiac Group, NBC News reported. The UK-based shipping company, MSC, which manages and operates the ship, confirmed the hijacking in a statement, saying that the vessel was boarded by Iranian authorities via helicopter and that the 25 crew members were on board. You can see the video of the hijacking here. So the helicopter just landed right on the ship. There was nothing really much that they could do. Yes, it was a very scary situation at the same exact time. You can see that the ship was illegally boarded by the military personnel via helicopter. The Galaxy Leader's owner said all communications were subsequently lost with the vessel, so they were probably murdered, which is the most possible outcome. It's just a disgusting situation here. That was the second time that we heard about this. And then finally, Joe Biden decides to leave the beach for the White House ahead of imminent Iranian attack on Israel. So after all these reports, after the vessel actually gets boarded by Iranian militants, or what they call their military for some reason, then Joe Biden decides to leave the beach. President Joe Biden will return to the White House this weekend to discuss the Middle East crisis with his national security team, cutting short a trip to Rehoboth Beach in Delaware in his home. Biden will return to Washington to consult with his national security team about the events in the Middle East. The White House announced on Saturday that the announcement comes amid rising tensions as American officials say that Iran is expected to launch an attack on Israel. Now, you can see that this is now the third report that we have. This is the third warning that we have. And then now we have the Israeli defense minister gives Iran a stark warning amid threat alert. We have added new capabilities. Israeli defense minister, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, sorry about that. The defense minister of Israel said on Saturday that the country was ready for any potential attack that the Islamic Republic of Iran may launch against it. Iran has threatened Israel for days after Israel terminated one of the country's top generals who allegedly played a key role in helping Hamas organize and execute its October 7th attack. Quote, "We are closely monitoring a planned attack by the Iran and its proxies against the state of Israel," Gallant said. In recent days, we have strengthened our defenses in an offensive array, and we are determined to take any measures required to defend the citizens of the state of Israel. We have added new capabilities on land and air, at sea, in our intelligence directorate within the state of Israel, and together with our partners led by the United States. He added, Iran is a terrorist state. The world is now seeing more than ever that we are determined to defend our citizens against terrorism, and we now know how to respond to it. I asked the citizens of Israel to follow the instructions published by the IDF in the Home Front Command. So that's what he put out in a video. Now we have Iran finally launching a drone attack on Israel, so they do not care what the Israeli Defense Ministry says or what the United States says or how many times Joe Biden says don't. They don't care about any of that. The Islamic Republic of Iran launched a drone attack against Israel on Saturday in response to Israel killing a top Iranian general who allegedly played a key role in Hamas's October 7th attack. Iran launched an attack against Israel by launching drones, 4 American and Israeli sources told me. Correspondent Barak Raved said. Israeli officials said that it will take several hours before the drones are able to reach Israel. In giving the defense assets that Israel and the United States have deployed, there is strong likelihood that most, if not all, of the drones will be shot down. United States officials originally estimated that 50 to 75 one-way suicide drones were launched. But that number now appears way over 100, as officials believe that a combination of 400 to 500 drones and missiles are being launched at Israel from several countries where Iran has terrorist proxy groups. The majority of the mutants are being launched directly from Iranian soil. Additional footage shows that one-way suicide drones believed 131 or 136 over southern eastern Iraq. This is a video here. Yeah, so you can see all the drones coming in. It's just a suicide drone. It just what ends up happening is that the drone just blows up and it's just a one-way drone. Then we get to Israel actually squats down all of these Iranian attack drones and missiles. The Israeli Defense Force said on Saturday night that it has intercepted 99% of the drones and missiles fired at Israel by the Islamic Republic of Iran. IDF spokesperson said that he cautioned that the attack was not over, as United States officials warned that Iran has launched an additional 70 missiles after the initial wave was largely unsuccessful. The Israeli Defense Force spokesperson said that Iran has launched over 200 drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles from inside its own territory, the first time Iran has ever launched a direct attack against a Jewish state. So, again, this is an unprecedented situation. Now we go to another article we have. United States shoots down all of these drones. You can see that it was up to 500 drones and missiles fired from all of these different states: Iraq, Syria, and southern Lebanon, and Yemen. So all of these states have Iranian proxies in them. So that's how they get controlled over here. Then we can see how Congress is actually responding to any of this. So members of Congress changed plans for the next week and issued statements in reaction to Iran's attack on Israel this weekend, prompting the United States to help its ally fend off the onslaught. The GOP-controlled House will move from its previously announced legislative schedule next week to instead consider legislation that supports our ally Israel and holds Iran and its terrorist proxies accountable, announced Majority Whip Steve Scalise, Republican from LA. The House Republicans stand strongly with Israel, and there must be consequences for this unprovoked attack. Scalise added, more details on the legislative items will be considered will be forthcoming. House Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican from LA, said that the United States must show its full resolve in standing with Israel against its victorious attack from Iran. Quote, I will continue to engage with the White House to insist upon a proper response, Johnson said. The Biden administration is undermining of Israel and its appearance of Iran have contributed to this terrible developments. The top Democrat in the House, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, America's commitment to Israel's security is ironclad, and unbreakable, and declared that Iran will not succeed. We stand with the people of Israel during this moment of significant challenge. And of course, a lot of Congress is saying, no, we must stand with Israel, we must stand with Israel. But where was this support before this situation happened? It's just disgusting because now, after an attack that we knew would happen since on Thursday, where reports first started coming out, nobody changed any of their positions, and they were still trying to sit here and say, oh, well, Israel, you made a mistake. Yes, Israel made a mistake. They owned up to it. They fired military officials because of it. They launched investigations. They will comply with any other investigations that America wants to do, independent investigations. So it's like, that's a person that's actually owning up. How many innocent people did Hamas kill? All of the people that they put in harm's way. Those are the innocent people that Hamas kills. But are we going to blame Hamas for all of the innocent people that they killed? No. We're just going to blame Israel. It does not make any sense here. So, Biden is now pressuring Israel to minimize response to unprecedented Iranian attacks. President Joe Biden has already reportedly started to pressure Israel to minimize their response to the unprecedented attack that it faced on Saturday when the Islamic Republic of Iran launched hundreds of missiles and drones at the country. Two Israeli officials told the New York Times that Iran launched 185 one-way suicide drones, 110 surface-to-surface missiles, and 36 cruise missiles. Dana Stroul, formerly the Pentagon's top Middle East policy official, who is now at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, said that whatever Iranians' goal was for the attack, it fell well short of that objective. Given how significant this attack was, it was difficult how Israel cannot respond, he said. United States officials have asked that Israel notify the United States before launching any kind of military response, CNN reported. This is the first time that Iran has ever directly attacked the Jewish state. CNN added that the Biden administration was urging the Israelis to have containment in mind, rather than escalating these attacks, even though the administration told the network that they viewed Iran's attack as disproportionate to Israel killing the Iranian general. The report said that Biden was focused on preventing a full-scale regional conflict from erupting. Okay, so now Joe Biden is sitting here saying, well, we must not make sure that this goes and expands into a world war and stuff like that. But why didn't you put more pressure on Hamas to actually accept the deals that Israel went and had with them? Israel made countless deals with Hamas to get the hostages back, which there is no more hostages because Hamas killed all of them. God forbid, hopefully there is, but there is not because they're all starved to death. They all were tortured to death. All of these people that were captured by Hamas, which includes still 3 American citizens, are not going to get freed. It's disgusting. They're kept in captivity by Hamas underneath in their terror tunnels. So, with that being said, there's no deal that you can actually make with Hamas at this point because it's too late. Israel has been forced to not go in and make a deal, and Hamas has not had any incentive to actually accept any deals from Israel because of the fact that the United States was constantly on Hamas's side the whole entire time. It's disgusting, and its constant flip-flopping does not make anything better. Now, this is what Biden says to Netanyahu. United States will not back a counterstrike against Iran, report says. President Joe Biden told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Saturday that the United States will not support an Israeli counterstrike against Iran. Biden spoke with Netanyahu on a call after Iran launched dozens of drones and more than 100 ballistic missiles in retaliation for an Israeli strike in Syria that killed a top general and other military officers. Biden reportedly called a joint defense of Israel a win, Axios reports. Biden reportedly told the Prime Minister that the United States will not participate in nor support an Israeli military response to an Iranian attack. Biden and top White House officials are concerned that escalating military action between Israel and Iran could have significant consequences for the region. You got a win. Take the win, Biden told Netanyahu, according to a White House official who spoke with Axios. Okay, so you're telling me that the win, quote unquote, is protecting yourself? That's not a win. Getting hundreds of attacks thrown at you from several countries is not a win. It's just you protecting yourself and the people in the country. There was still a death. So what are we talking about here? That's not a win. So now Joe Biden's just sitting here going crazy because he's like, oh no, we cannot have a World War III under my presidency. We cannot. But he's the one that caused the war. Now we can compare this to what Trump said while he was president, and there was a potential of a war between Iran and somebody else. So Iran was actually threatening America during this time, or during 2018, 7/22/18. Former President Donald Trump tweeted out and said to Iranian President, I can't pronounce his name, never ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious. That's an open threat. And now that's a good thing because it prevented war. So, of course, a lot of people at the time was like, oh, well, this is you. You're actually making sure that Iran will attack America. No. From 2018 to now, this is 8 years later. 6 years later, Iran has still never attacked America because they're so scared of Trump at the time. So, of course, with Joe Biden over here, it's always, oh, well, what's going on here? No, I don't know what's going to go on. And I believe this and I believe that and I believe this and I believe that. No, flip-flopping does not fix the problem. Being strict, being precise, being threatening with your language, even though it's not going to really do anything, it could just be an empty threat. But are you going to trust that it is an open threat and not do anything? No. Or are you going to do something pretending as though it is an empty threat? No. The threat itself is what makes sure that nothing actually happens in the Middle East. That's what Joe Biden doesn't understand. The words can have more meaning than the actual actions, because if they don't know if the action is going to come after the words, then nothing's going to happen. We have 3 different wars right now. The Middle Eastern War, the Asia War, and now we have another war with Ukraine. So we have we have the Ukrainian War, we have a war lingering over Asia with Taiwan, and we have this war with the Middle East. So there's so many different wars. All of them are because of Joe Biden's weakness on foreign policy. A lot of people are like, well, Joe Biden, how do you know that Russia wouldn't have attacked if Joe Biden wasn't president and Trump was president? It's common sense. They never did it before. They never did this before. So what are you talking about here? Doesn't make much sense. So with that being said, this has been the emergency broadcast of yesterday and today. You know for a fact that a lot of things are going to go down over the next couple of days, and we will be reporting on this every single time stuff actually gets leaked or stuff actually gets reported. It's very, very hard actually finding sources of this nature because of the fact that you want actual reputable sources and not something that's going to be like hearsay, or it's fake, or it's doctored, or it's AI generated. There's so many footage, so many things. Even I retweeted something that I thought was real, and then now I have to delete it because it was fact-checked to be false. So many things have come out. Yesterday, it was only one tweet, by the way. It wasn't many. Like, a lot of people were just posting videos that were just fake. And then that's what I appreciate about the actual X now, or formerly Twitter, is because it fact checks stuff to make sure that it's actually true. And you can still say it, but then it says readers added context. So it's really, really interesting exactly how that works here, because it actually helps out so people don't spread info that's not true. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for enjoying. And if you did like my breakdown of this and how precise I was, because I wanted you guys to have the full answer and exactly what happened throughout all of yesterday first. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. And if you do enjoy my breakdown of stuff and enjoy how much I actually deep dive into these situations, please subscribe to me down below or follow me on X, because I do post new episodes of my show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and I hope they have a great rest of your day. Bye.